As a homeowner, it's natural to assume that flood damage is covered under your homeowner's policy. To an extent, there are some cases in which this is correct, at least to some degree. If lightning strikes and causes water to pour through your roof, for example, that is typically covered by your existing policy. However, if torrential rains cause rising water to flood your basement, that is not covered by traditional homeowners policy. Homeowners who live in moderate or low-risk areas may choose to forego flood insurance, but the numbers paint a very different picture. According to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, just an inch of water can cause up to $25,000 worth of damage to your home, and 20% of all flood claims are filed in low to moderate flood risk areas. Let's review what you need to know and cover some basic tips for protecting your property from whatever Mother Nature may have in store. Determining your flood risk. You may be aware that you live in a high-risk, moderate-risk, or a low-risk flood area. But what do these terms actually mean? High risk. Living in a high-risk area means that there's at least a 1% chance that the area you live in will flood every single year. That does not sound like much, but it does mean that you and your insurance need to account for this. Over a long enough timeline, the unlikely becomes inevitable. Living in a high-risk area means flood insurance is required by your mortgage lender. Moderate and low risk. Living in a moderate to low-risk area means that there is less chance of annual flooding. While flood insurance is not required, it is recommended. Unknown risk. In some areas, flood mapping has not been conducted. Because there isn't any information, it's still recommended that you obtain a flood insurance policy if you live in one of these areas to further protect your property. So, how do you obtain flood insurance? Flood insurance is provided through the National Flood Insurance Program. While you can obtain coverage through your insurance agent, flood policies are backed by the federal government. When you purchase a flood insurance policy, there is typically a 30-day wait period before your coverage goes into effect. The notable exceptions to this rule are if you've added or modified your mortgage and your flood coverage is a part of your mortgage, or if you are modifying your existing flood insurance policy during a policy renewal. Much like other types of insurance, your flood insurance policy would renew on an annual basis. If you cancel your policy, you will remain covered for 30 days after your policy expires. However, if you incur any losses during this time frame, they will only be covered if you pay and renew your flood policy before the 30-day grace period ends. Flood insurance for homeowners. There are a few different types of flood insurance policies depending on your needs. As a homeowner, you'll need a policy that covers your home and everything inside it. Commonly referred to as structure and belongings coverage, these coverages need to be purchased separately and there are separate deductibles for each policy. Residential properties can be insured for up to $250,000 for the structure, and belongings can be insured for up to $100,000. If you live in a low-risk flood area, ask your insurance agent if there are discounted insurance rates available to you. If you live outside of a high-risk flood area and want to purchase a flood insurance policy, the NFIP has a preferred risk policy that will combine your structure and belongings coverage into one policy. However, each type of coverage still has separate deductibles that must be met. Flood insurance for businesses. Commercial flood insurance is much more extensive. Policies cover the building, equipment inside, inventory, and even your building's foundation. Much like a homeowner's policy, structure and belongings policies are purchased separately. You can insure your business for up to $500,000 for the building and up to $500,000 for the contents inside the building. What to do before a flood. You cannot control when or how a disaster will strike, but you can take preemptive measures that will help you prepare long before floodwaters reach your door. Step number 1. Confirm your flood risk. Even if you think you know what the flood risk is in your property, it never hurts to double check. The Flood Map Service Center allows you to enter your address and confirm up-to-date flood risk information. You can also confirm this information with your insurance agent. Step 2. Purchase a flood insurance policy. We tend to only think about things like flood insurance when a disaster is imminent. Unfortunately, if a major storm is heading your way, it's likely too late to purchase a policy. Work with your insurance agent and do a checkup on your current coverage to make sure that you're properly protected. Step number 3. Conduct a home inventory. Taking a complete inventory of all your household items is a smart move in general. A written inventory with photos helps with estate planning and other insurance policies you have, and of course, it will come in handy should you experience loss due to flooding. Step number 4. Keep your documents safe. Protect important documents by storing them in a safe place. In addition to storing physical copies off-site, digital copies will help ensure that if you're dealing with flood losses, you have everything you need. Keep all your important documents in a waterproof safe. These documents could include passports, birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce papers, adoption papers, medical papers, or insurance documents, to name a few. Step number 5. Prepare your home for a flood. While you can't waterproof your basement against the dangers of flood waters, you can install a water alarm to alert you to any potential water damage. It's also a good idea to install a sump pump, complete with a backup generator to keep it running in case power goes out. Keeping your gutters clear can also help divert rainwater away from your house and prevent any type of standing water from collecting on your roof. If a flood is imminent, move your belongings and furniture to the highest level of your home if it is safe to do so. However, remember that your physical safety is the most important thing during a flood. While you cannot control the weather, you can help protect your home and belongings with the right flood insurance policy. Flood insurance is a federally backed program that covers what your homeowner's policy does not. Talk to your insurance agent today to make sure that you have this important coverage in place long before disaster strikes.